A girl just wants to drill.
I'm Dani, and I'm the DIY guru of Buy or DIY. Today's challenge, a dog bed for travel bloggers Kristen and Sia and their pup Atlas, who live in an Airstream full time. They're looking for something he can go under, climb on top, and see out a window. This was part of a much bigger series where I go head to head with my design friend Alexandra, who was out to find the perfect buy, which you can check out right there. But this is behind the DIY.
All right, so here are the materials you're gonna need to build this DIY dog bed. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe. We got awesome Buy or DIY content coming your way. Let's put this baby to bed, shall we?
Carry that last
That's so weird. All right, so let's get our frame together. The puzzle begins. What I'm gonna do first is I'm going to pre-drill all my holes. By creating this pilot hole, what I'm doing is avoiding any splits in my wood. I'm gonna add a little bit of wood glue. I'm using a 3-inch screw, and we're gonna put this baby together. I will withhold comments. All right, one in, a couple more to go. All right, we have a frame. So this is what's gonna make up my handle. So on the corner of the dog bed, I'm using a 2-inch screw versus the 3-inch, just because I don't want my screws to be hitting each other. The 1x2 piece, I'm not going to be screwing it in. This is purely for aesthetics. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of wood glue in it and then place it in. And then I'm just gonna clamp it down to make sure that it dries nice and tight to my piece. All right, so I got one side and I just need to do it one more time. First I had one and now I have two. Now I'm gonna add my crossbars and attach these two together. Can you see it yet? Every time. Here's a quick tip, just make sure you're thinking about where you put your screws so that they don't hit each other when you go to make your frame. We have a frame! Feel like it's feeling pretty good. Like it's really cave-like in here. All right, so I have my frame and now what I need to do is create the base that Atlas is gonna sit on. So my legs are 1 3/8 by 1 3/8. So what I'm gonna do is remove 1 3/8 from the corner of my 1/4 inch plywood to make sure it fits in there snug as pug. All right, and we're just gonna repeat this in the 4 corners. All right, so my 4 corners have been marked and now all I need to do is use my jigsaw and take it out. All right, the big moment, did she measure correctly? Dun, 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 dun. So what we're gonna do next is fill in all of our screw holes with wood fill, and I got a little hack for you. So I've taken some of my sawdust that have been left over in the studio, and I'm mixing it with some wood glue. And what it actually does is helps me fill in my holes just a little bit better, so the wood filler just sitting flat on the board and making it nice and smooth while this is actually filling it in. All right, so I'm just putting my platform in here. Okay, and what I'm gonna be using to attach my platform is a 1-inch wood screw. Our base is in, and now what I need to do is just sand off and smooth out all the areas that are looking a little bit rough in all this wood fill. I have my orbital sander and an 80 grit sandpaper, and I'm just gonna go at her. Just going to once again fill these screw holes in with wood filler, like you do with pimples. And that is what we call relatability. So now that my sanding is done, what I'm moving on to is what's really gonna give it that wow factor, which is staining. What I've gone with is a really nice kind of blonde orange color. Look how beautiful that is. Ugh. I always recommend using a cotton rag, but you can also do this with a sponge or a brush. It's really up to you. You're going to want to let it dry and then do about 2 to 3 more coats, depending on how dark you'd like it to look. All right, so now that this is all drying, I'm just going to paint my base white. Look at that. To keep my paint job nice and clean, what I'm doing is avoiding getting too close to my legs. I'm gonna go back in afterwards and put some painter's tape around. That way I can get right in there and I don't have to worry about getting anything up on the frame. So my stain is dry and my paint is dry and I'm ready to add a finished top coat. I'm gonna be using a polyacrylic finish. Because this project is for an animal, I need to make sure that the project is gonna be nice and protected. I'm just using a sponge to apply it. So while I'm waiting for my frame to dry, I'm just starting on my pillow here. I've taken my two materials, I've turned it inside out, lied them together, pinned it off, and I'm doing a back stitch. So I'm going forward, and then I'm gonna loop it back, go through very carefully where I just went through, and pull it through. So once my pillow is done, it should look something like this. There we go. I should make my own pillows. Dani pillows. Beep, beep. What? All right, now I just need to close off the final side. What this is called is a slip stitch, also known as a ladder stitch. And what I'm doing here is making sure that my two sides are tucked in. And what I'm doing is going in from the front side, which is my furry side. I'm going up into the seam and I'm gonna pull it in nice and tight and then just keep stitching and repeat. All right, so pillow is done. Now there's only one way to know if this pillow works or not. It's good, it's real good, guys. So I'm just working on the weave, that's the top of my dog bed. I'm using this beautiful gray and black cotton material. It's kind of stretchy, but it's super strong if you pull it taut. And so what I have here is I've put a safety pin at the end of my fabric. It actually makes it much easier to weave it through. Pulling it nice and tight, tuck in my edges. I'm just tying knots at the end of my fabric. There we go. This looks good. We have a DIY dog bed. We got dangly boho bits. We have added pieces of flair. We have beautiful wood finish. If your pup is anything like our friend Atlas, they're gonna love it. It's my favorite for sure. What about this?
I heard that.
Click this video. It's a good watch. Or that one. Or like both. Or you can watch a whole bunch. Just subscribe to the channel. You'll never miss a video again.